Hey everyone, welcome to Speaking of Grace. This is a bonus episode from our 2024 WholeLife Church Retreat edition. This is going to be the Friday night talk that our special guest for the weekend for Church Retreat was John Rivers. Most of you, if you're from the Orlando area, will know him from Four Rivers Smokehouse, or if you were with us for Connected last year, our annual community event, you'll know him from Four Roots Farm, which we came out to support them as a church last fall. So John Rivers was the guest speaker for the weekend. This was a little different than normal. Usually we get together in the outdoor amphitheater. This year it was on the baseball field right when you came into Kulaqua, because we had Four Rivers Barbecue catering our Friday evening meal, and then a little music and worship on the baseball field right there, and a little old rustic hay wagon where we had music, and then John came and gave a quick talk on Friday night. This is about 12 minutes, so not super long, but it was a great message to set up not only the podcast, which happened on Saturday morning, and then his Saturday talk for noon for our church service. So you can catch that on the next bonus episode in your feed. So you'll see two episodes drop here in the Speaking of Grace feed. And if you swipe up in the show notes of each of those, there will actually be a link to the main talk that he gave on the podcast as well on This Is Whole Life. So swipe up and catch both. You can catch both messages in your feed here and on This Is Whole Life. And then for This Is Whole Life, episode 411 will be the one you're looking for. But there will be a link in today's show notes. So thank you for tuning in. A little something different, both episodes coming towards you here. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.
All right. How's everyone feeling tonight? Wasn't that beautiful? You know, selfishly, I didn't want it to end. I was comfortable. I was praising God. I was so happy, and what a great environment for it, too. Oh, thank you. Is that better? Yes, okay. Thank you for coming tonight. All right. Well, what a joy and privilege it is to be here this evening with you and to be able to experience the kickoff of this year's event. They asked me to come tonight and talk about horizontal connections. Now, I just want you to know up front that I came and I thought I was going to share my recipe for brisket. They said, no, we'd rather not. So, sorry, guys. I had it all written out for you. Okay, not really. All right. So there is, in the theme of connection, okay, there's a few things, and it's so relevant actually to what we're doing both at the smokehouse and actually back to some of the things that Jesus taught us. And in particular, we're going to talk about, perspective of connections and why it's so important in life, and then really from a heart posture. And the thing that I love about connections in particular, it's predicated on relationships. Okay? People say, okay, we're in the restaurant business. All right. Well, no, we're in the service business. Remember that came out years ago and everybody made such a big deal about it? Well, I would contend, no, we're in the relationship business. People buy from people. People work for people. Okay? People follow people. And if you think about some of the best relationships that you've had, it's because you loved and you treated and you respected that person that you were with. And quite honestly, because they also loved and respected and treated you with honor the way back. There's an old saying in leadership and in business that once they trust your heart, they'll give you their hands. And in order to earn that trust, okay, you must first have a relationship with them. If you have people that work for you and you don't know who they are, or you don't know about their kids or their life, you haven't got close enough to them to let them truly learn to respect you and then to follow you. They're never going to respect you because of a title, or if they do, it's short term. But to truly respect somebody, you really have to know them. And one of the best, most beautiful things, too, about that, especially from a leadership perspective, is to show them your heart. You show some volatility. Okay? You show them that you're human, and you build trust with them. So I'm going to do two things, okay? The first one's going to be an exercise with you guys, just to show you the importance of this, okay? If you would, when I say so, turn to the person next to you, okay? And you're going to pretend like you just ran into them at a party, okay? And this is somebody you didn't want to run into tonight, okay? They would really want to talk to you, but you want to talk to somebody else who's at the event itself. So just for 30 seconds, just look at them and have that interaction of somebody who you really don't want to be with. So go ahead. Okay, no punching, no punching. All right, all right, all right. Thank you guys. All right, now I'm going to change the scenario a little bit, okay? Now you walk into the party, okay? Walk into the event, and you see somebody who you haven't seen in so long, and you're so excited to see them. They're the single biggest person, most important person that you wanted to see, okay? For 30 seconds, ready, go. Okay, okay, okay. Come on back. Come on back. All right. Now, what did you notice that was different between the two scenarios? Yeah, you guys were loud. There was a lot of energy. There was a lot of people touching each other and hugging each other and high fives, okay? Now, the environment didn't change, did it? Okay? The person you were talking to, they didn't change, did they? Your perspective of them changed. And because you looked at them in a different way, you treated them in a different way. And because you treated them in a different way, they responded in a different way. It's funny how that works. People will rise to the level that you put the cap on who and what they can do. You determine that in your own mind, and that's the way that you treat them. And if you treat people by lifting them up and seeing them for everything that God put in them, it is amazing how they will rise up to that occasion. And that's so important for making connectivity, making connections, both from a business perspective, from a family perspective, and from a faith perspective. One of the other lessons that we teach all of our team members is the importance of going the second mile. Have you guys heard that term before? So if somebody wants a drink when they walk by the table, instead of asking them if they want a drink, and actually take their cup and go fill it for them. Or if they say, I want to take something home, actually go get the container and go the extra mile and bring it to them. And then you really want to go the extra mile, bag it up for them, and if it's raining, put an umbrella over them and walk them out. And how that makes them feel so important. Okay? And quite frankly, that's one of the greatest ways to build value, is making the other person feel important. Did you ever wonder where the term going the second mile comes from? Excuse me for taking my notes out. You guys ever read the book of Matthew by chance? Matthew 5:4. Okay. Jesus said, if a man asks you to walk a mile with him, do it. And then walk another mile with him. Go the second mile. That's where it comes from. And what does this text mean? What was the origins of it? Back in the day when Jesus was here, in Judaism in particular, as you know, Rome occupied Israel. And as the centurions would come back from battle or from drills all day, they were hot and they were sweaty. And the law was, if you were a Jew and they saw you, they could say, carry my armor. And armor back then was incredibly heavy. And by Roman law, you had to carry it 1 mile. Okay? And that was the minimum or the maximum that they could make you do it. And what Jesus is saying here, don't just say yes to it, go the extra mile. Go twice. And what were the lessons in this? Okay? There's 3 primary ones to take away. Number 1 is grace. Okay? And this is important in relationships and important in building connectivity. If somebody asks you to do something that you don't want to do, a lot of people might say, no, I'm too busy, or I might make an excuse. But what if you gave them grace, especially if they're asking you for something that only benefits them? Okay? Jesus is saying, show grace. Say yes to it. And as a matter of fact, don't just say yes to it, go beyond. Show more grace than they deserve, which quite honestly is the definition of grace. When you forgive somebody and you give them love, even though they don't deserve it. The second lesson in this is relational. When you walk with somebody, you learn about them. When you walk by their side, you have gain an understanding of their perspective. You're no longer above, you're no longer below. You're walking by their side. You see the world as they see it, and maybe you learn a little bit more about what their motivations are or what they're going through in their life. And that's the basis of relationships. And the third thing is unconditionality. Okay? When you do what Jesus is saying, do something for somebody else, not because you're going to get something back. Because I promise you, the Jews didn't get anything back. He's saying, go the mile like they're demanding. It's not fair, it's not right. But go the second mile with them and don't expect anything back whatsoever. And they're showing their true heart of servitude and honoring God. And that's where connectivity comes in relationships. You know, you'll hear about it tomorrow, but when we opened the first smokehouse back in 2009, you know, Monica, my beautiful wife back there, and we almost went broke. And we didn't have enough money to advertise. We didn't have enough money to do promotions or do radio spots or any of that. We literally, all we could do is we prayed. And we prayed an awful lot back then. And we built our business. The blessing of it is that we built our business by going into the community and forming relationships. And we did that by aligning to ministries and to churches and to institutions that we believed in and helping them with the one thing that we did have, because we didn't have money back then, but we had food. And when we would line up with them and serve food and help them raise money, we formed a level of trust, okay? And quite honestly, the best thing that we ever have, the two greatest things we have are our people and our food. Well, we were giving them the two things that we did have, the very best things we had, and we built relationships. And we built relationships with Advent, with hospitals and with banks and with schools. And for many years, almost 10 years, we never spent a penny in advertising. We did it based on trust and relationships and going out. And we've been blessed to this very day. You know, people continue to support us. I think there's a lot to the food, okay? There's a lot to the people, but there's more to it. There's the spirit. There's the purpose of who we are. And again, once they trust your heart, they'll give you their hands. And to earn their trust, you have to align with them and come to them where they are. So that's my strategic talk on connections and the importance of it. And let me just say thank you again for allowing me to come here tonight and to be able to talk to you guys. And very much looking forward to tomorrow as well. All right. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Hi, this is Randy McGray, podcast producer and host here at WholeLife Church. Loving people into a lifelong friendship with God is our mission at the WholeLife Church, and our podcasts are designed to help facilitate conversations that help us grow together in that pursuit. Now that you've heard the message for this week, don't forget to check out the WholeLife takeaways for this message. Swipe up in today's show notes and join the conversation. Speaking of conversations, each Wednesday morning we take a closer look at the week's message. That's right, the one you just listened to. We discuss practical ways to apply spiritual lessons and ask honest questions about the issues we face as Christians, all focused through the lens of grace. Your voice is a welcomed addition to that conversation. We encourage your thoughts and your questions by sending a voicemail or text to 407-965-1607 or send an email to podcast@wholelife.church. You can find everything podcast related on our website, wholelife.church/podcast. And plan on spending every Tuesday evening and Wednesday morning with us as we bring you the Whole Life Church inspiration you love straight into your headphones. Thanks for listening, and have a great week.